Does it happen to you that when making cakes, they don't always turn out the same despite always following the same recipe? Well, don't miss this video because today we will talk about the most frequent mistakes that are usually made and how to get a perfect cake. The number one mistake is that the cake doesn't rise. This is possibly one of the most common problems when making cakes, and there are 4 reasons why this usually happens. The first is that the mixture is not well beaten. Dry ingredients should be mixed before adding them to the dough. This way, the yeast will be correctly distributed throughout the cake. The second problem is that the dough has too much flour or too little yeast. The third problem is that the quality of the ingredients is poor. And the fourth has to do with the temperature of the ingredients. These should always be at room temperature. The second mistake is that the cake shrinks in the oven. This is because the cake was baked at a very high temperature or for too long in the oven. The third mistake, the cake shrinks and wrinkles when cooling. In this case, the cooking time will have been insufficient, or it may also be that the cake cooled in a draft. And when making a cake, the cooling process must be respected. The cake must be left in the mold for 10 minutes, and then we must remove it from the mold and let it cool on a rack. This way we will not cut the cooling process. The fourth mistake, the cake has white speckles on the surface. This means that the sugar has not dissolved. To prevent this from happening, the sugar should be added gradually to the eggs. It is also important to beat between each addition until we see that it is completely dissolved. The fifth mistake is that it is flat and compact. This is because the flour was not incorporated into the liquid correctly. It is recommended to sift the flour and incorporate it into the mixture with a gentle and circular movement. Error number 6. The surface of the cake is pale and sticky. This occurs when the baking is done at too low temperature or in the wrong position inside the oven. For example, if we place it at the bottom. Error number 7. The surface of the cake is full of deep cracks. Besides looking aesthetically unappealing, these cracks can lead to the cake breaking when unmolded. This is because the oven temperature was too high, and this causes the yeast to rise too quickly without time to form the crumb. It can also be because the baking time was exceeded. Error number 8. It has a hard crust. This is the result of baking at a very high temperature in the wrong oven position. In this case, it would be because it was placed too high or because the mold in which we pour the ingredients mixture is too small. Error number 9. It sinks in the center. This can be for several reasons. For example, because the mold is too small and this causes the cake to rise too quickly and then sink in the center. Or it can also be that the cake is not done enough. One of the reasons why this can happen is because the oven door was open during the first half of baking. Error number 10. The cake has grown unevenly. Sometimes it stays higher in the center and lower on the edges like a volcano. This can be due to an excess of flour, or it can also be because the oven was too hot. And that's it. As you can see, many of these problems are due to the oven temperature. Therefore, it is important to check that the oven is well calibrated, or you can also use an oven thermometer to make sure the temperature is correct. These thermometers are very easy to find, and you just have to put them inside the oven to see the temperature accurately. We would like you to tell us through the comments which of these problems is the one that happens to you the most. Or if there is one that is not on our list, we will help you find the solution. And as always, you know that you help us a lot by giving us a like. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything.